Welcome everyone. Denzel Rodriguez here, your personal finance geek of the 21st century, and I am with a wonderful couple here, Corinne and Chris. I'm meeting them for the very first time here in Tennessee. What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. We've been working together for a few years.
Yeah,
at this
about
point.
2.5, almost 3 years.
Yeah, 2.5, almost 3 years. We've seen a lot in this relationship so far, and this is the first time you're debuting on the YouTube channel. So I'd like for you to share with my audience that origin story, our origin story, how it all began, and then what are you guys working on now at this point?
Well, sure. Well, our origin started with me finding you on YouTube, becoming a little bit antsy about our finances, wanting to progress and get to the next level. We had a pretty good foundation, but we wanted to get a little bit further on. And I came across your YouTube channel talking about velocity banking, and it drew me in. And I thought that this is something that can work. It's working for your clients the way you were able to lay it out with numbers, because numbers don't lie, and your approach made it very digestible. The next goal I knew I needed was to get my wife on board, because again, we had done good work and it was working, but I wanted to progress a little bit faster, and I knew that she also wanted to progress a little faster, and we were trying to think of ways of doing that, which again drew me to your channel because it was something that I was searching. So I brought in Corinne, and it was kind of me introducing you to her also, right? And that's kind of what it was. So go ahead. What did you think?
Perspective?
Yeah, what did you think?
From my perspective, it was, what does he need me to watch now? And he had me watch these videos, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I've got the kids, I've got work, I've got all these things. And, after listening to your videos and seeing how you laid out the information of the couples you were already working with, and how you were able to just simplify the financial world for everybody and then go through like a one-on-one custom plan for everybody, I was like, okay, all right, I'm in. He's not just some face on YouTube anymore. He knows what he's talking about. So, and then we dove in, and I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, we reached out, had that first 30-minute consultation call. Mainly it was to get to know you first, right? To see if we were going to be a good fit.
Yeah, I think you joined a couple of my Zoom calls, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been on a live.
Right, it might have been on a live at first, and then it was the call, and then from there with us both on it. That was a big point for me, to make sure that we were both on it. Because if I have buy-in with my wife, it just makes the journey that much faster, that much more intentional. And now that we're both on the same path, we can get there faster. So that was my whole point. And then once we got off the call, I mean, even before the call, it was more of like, are you feeling this? Like, are you feeling the vibe? Are you good with the vibe? Is it a good vibe? And it was. And I think we signed up right after for the coaching.
And this was 23, or is it 22?
No, it was 22.
It might have been 22.
It might have actually been late 21, 2020, and then
you definitely discovered me before.
Oh, yes.
And then
no, I think actually maybe early 2022 because because we had already done everything. We had switched everything over. We had gone and we had done the velocity banking, and it was because of the position of the velocity banking it put us in that the first scenario had happened where I had lost my job, and we were put in that financial position a couple of months earlier that allowed some freedom.
What was the first tool so that they know that we were using for velocity banking before we lost the job?
So what we had done was we had the traditional 30-year mortgage that we were just adding more money to, right? And then what we had switched over was to a first lien HELOC. So we switched everything over to a first lien HELOC. And
did you go from a higher rate to a lower rate, or a lower rate to a higher rate?
So in that case, we actually were post-COVID So the rates were a little bit higher than what our mortgage was. And we knew that going in. It wasn't astronomical, but it was definitely higher. I think we were at a 125, and then we went up to a 7 point something. But it was the ability of the HELOC that we were looking at, right? It was more of that.
We were looking at the flexibility,
right?
And then, if I'm not mistaken, were there other debts that we sort of moved into?
At that point, no, because we had eliminated everything. It was just acceleration on getting the mortgage completed. Yeah, that was what it was. And again, we were bringing in good money at both combined. We were around. I think we were at 200, something like that.
Yeah.
And the flexibility of your income, because it was coming, bonuses, right? There was different kinds of income.
So at that point, there was slightly some, depending on the company, there may have been a 10% bonus attached. That wasn't necessarily guaranteed, but it was always the possibility there. I was somewhat getting it. I was stable with my regular salary, and at that point that was stable. Hers was a little bit more flexible because she was working part-time. So whatever hours she was able to get or add on, she always had her stable hours, which were part-time, but then she could always add on if needed. So if we wanted extra thing here or throw extra money there, we were able to just give her extra hours somewhere, and then we would take advantage of that.
Gotcha. Were you able to lock in a fixed rate on that first one?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went with the fixed
for a period of time.
Yeah.
10 years.
It was 3 years at fixed, and then it goes to 7 overall.
Right. And then it wasn't too long afterwards where you were like, after you had lost the job, and then you were saying you were going to move.
So after we had switched everything over, it was that summer. That fall, I was able to land another job, which provided much more higher of a salary, and it allowed me to work from home. So it cut down cost, increased salary, which were all great things. And that was in the fall. Shortly, and the ability to do that added so much more for us to get the excitement of getting the mortgage paid off earlier. Like to get everything. It was just like, okay, now we have that much more to do.
So at this point, from your perspective, would you say, had we not got that first lien, do you feel like you guys be in a worse off position, even though you're at a higher rate, or better?
The HELOC definitely helped because we were able to, the way that it worked and funneling everything through the HELOC, I felt like everything was coming and going out of one place. And it organized everything, and we chopped away at that mortgage a lot faster using the HELOC than if we were to just do it our own way.
It didn't necessarily matter that the interest rate was that high, because the cashback was knocking it down to where it was essentially the same or slightly below.
Yeah,
that was the main thing, is that you had to leverage it with the cashback. Otherwise, then you're just paying extra on the debt, which doesn't make sense. But because of the cashback portion of the velocity banking, which I think is what people kind of miss, you got to look at the value of that. And you were very good at least explaining that up front. Like, if you don't have this, it may not make sense. So you have to look at what your finances are, what your spending habits are, and what you're purchasing and whatnot.
Yeah, so it wasn't just the first lien itself, but it was also the other elements we were adding. Removal of escrow, no longer having that come out.
Right.
It was credit cards,
right,
leveraging that, and just again with the imbalance of income. There's a lot of times where people are hesitant to put anything to their mortgage because they're afraid of this, and this. Whereas with the first lien, you're putting it all together,
right,
and you're ultimately reducing that risk altogether.
Correct.
Meanwhile, keeping yourselves liquid, so you get the benefits of saving money simultaneously while knocking the debt down.
Yeah, it's like the best of both worlds, essentially. Yeah, and all in one combined spot, and that's what I think made it very, very appealing. Instead of having to shop around or go from this person or this place to this place. It just made it a little bit easier at that standpoint.
Yeah. And then we, fast forward, we get another first lien HELOC. Why is that?
When we moved from New York to Tennessee, we can no longer use that HELOC, so we had to take a different HELOC. And I think the interest rate on the first one was like 5.
Oh, 5.
And
okay.
then we actually had to go up to
You
like
went to the
7
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
I was like, wait a
Okay.
second.
on the
Okay.
second
It was
HELOC
lower.
because
Okay.
the interest rates were higher.
Right.
But
Interest rates are going up
Right.
now,
Right.
folks.
Okay.
But helped going from New York to Tennessee and knocking quite a bit off of a mortgage of what we owed. But still attacking it with the HELOC is what allowed us to pay off our mortgage this past December and be, free of that and not have to worry. We were a little bit more financially free.
You took the proceeds of the house you sold in New
Yes.
York to come to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Cheaper value price, right, of this home
Mm-hmm.
than okay, so right, so you had that imbalance that you already get into this property.
Correct.
And
With
the
an-
tax is less
Right. So overall,
overall.
just to
yeah.
throw numbers at it, we were able to sell our house. We'll throw it out there. $880,000 was what we sold our house in New York for. We purchased this house for $670,000. We had
What was the credit line?
We had access to like 500.
500. We had
Okay.
access to 500.
So 80?
80%?
LT?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about 80%.
Right. And then what we did was, so that allowed us, I think we had less than 200 on the mortgage left over, right?
Coming
In the
here?
HELOC. I think we had,
About
left.
130
Oh,
we had left.
okay. So that
130.
that offset everything. I think all said and done, prior to any renovations or additions done to the house, we were exactly this new one. We were left with an overall balance outstanding of 30 grand, 40 grand, somewhere in that
That's
range.
awesome.
So
And this is a beautiful house, by the way.
Thank you.
it was quite an upgrade. I'll say that, quite an upgrade.
Space.
Yeah,
What's that?
Space. We had no idea what that was living on Long Island in New York. But yes, it all said and done. I think we only had about 30, maybe 40 grand outstanding on the HELOC, and we were able to knock that out relatively.
So now it's 2025 as we're recording this. We're in June.
Yeah.
This house is paid off.
Mm-hmm.
It
Everything.
smells different when it's paid off.
Oh, it
The
does.
grass feels different
Yes.
between your toes.
It's interesting.
Every
the soil.
brick is ours.
I don't know. There's a lot to be said about not paying off your mortgage. I've heard all the arguments toward not paying off it. Valid.
100%. Like
100% valid.
every season for a person, right?
But man, there's something about, I don't know how you measure these other emotional feelings.
Yeah.
And you could make an argument that the person that does accelerate their home at least once in their lifetime for the first time, do they show up more powerfully? Are they operating more intentionally in their life? Are they closer to their spouse, right? Like there's just these other things
You can
that,
talk to that.
yeah,
For sure.
Even me, like
Yeah.
I'm in the process now. I'm accelerating my home. I have a first lien. I start at 560 something. I've got it down to the mid 3s at this point. I'm on track to have it done in about 2-ish years. And there's something about like once it's done, I personally, all the math tells me not to pay off my home.
Mhm.
Right. And that's, I would say that's math that's world generated, because the world entices you with percentages and, really percentages, right? Because it's like you can not spend it here and then put it in here and you'll get more of a greater return, right? So
If
now
you
the
can get
difference.
if you can get that greater return minus taxes, fees, and losses.
Exactly, right? So the world is telling you to do that. And again, math is math, and that math, it does work, but there are certain certainties that you're taking into account that you're hoping come to fruition. And if those don't come to fruition, then the math may not work, because there's a lot of assumptions that go into that.
Yeah.
And-
What happens when life happens?
Right.
Case in point.
Case in
life,
point,
life happened 2 or 3
twice.
times.
We
in
got
our relationship.
got laid off. One was a layoff for a bogus reason. Another one was because of restructuring within a company. Essentially having the rug pulled out from underneath me twice. And as the breadwinner, it's very, very emotional. Very, very emotional. Now, again, my wife was, Corinne was working still the first time around. The second time around, right? She's not. Like, she's home. She's a home mom now.
However, the way that I feel now that it happened, me not working, not bringing in any income, versus the way that I felt then when I had control of getting more income and keeping us afloat and helping while he found his job, not having the mortgage and not owing anybody anything and being that financially free, where trusting God to open the next door, and I don't have to panic I don't have to worry about feeding the family. We have it under control. Having our finances in order and doing the things that we've done have set us up where the panic doesn't take over, the worry doesn't take over, we're at peace.
And that's something Denzel, that math
Cannot fix.
You can't put that into an equation.
There's a stability here that we didn't have.
As someone that loves to run the numbers, I also recognize there's these emotional factors that can throw the numbers off completely. So for those of you that are really processing, whether it's velocity banking or any financial strategy, run the numbers, as I always say, have some sort of basis to look at, no doubt.
True.
And then re-inject the emotion. Okay, how am I going to feel if I go this route? What am I giving up? Because there's a give and take in every strategy. There's still risk in velocity banking. No doubt. But the rewards, the other benefits you get outweighed that little bit of risk, and you're willing to take that. And here we are still where there hasn't been an issue. HELOC wasn't called. There's 2 instances where you're not working, not producing income. And a first lien HELOC, I would argue, is even better in that scenario because you're not responsible to make a full mortgage escrow payment every single month.
Correct.
Right.
You're only required to cover interest if you owe anything on it.
Correct.
Right.
You're in a position now where it's completely paid off.
Exactly.
We don't know
Which is
anybody
awesome.
anything, which is
And yet you
amazing.
still have access to all that equity
100%.
if you need to tap into it, which is huge.
And as of right now, it's access to, I think, it may be over like
Over
550. Yeah, 550.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's awesome.
all that line of credit we have access to if we need it, if we need be.
almost acts as our emergency fund in a situation like this
Like
where
a
Even
backup
more.
like a
emergency.
backup.
Exactly. It's a
because
backup to
get
backup.
through emergency fund, but if we still need more time, it's there. It's like
Correct.
that's the stability that as a mom and a wife, I feel more comfortable with that
I love
than
it.
having that mortgage
I love
payment.
it. And so with that, at this point, what are we working on at this point?
We want to help other people. We want to get people who are in the same position we're in with young kids, working to pay the bills, working to put the kids in every activity you could possibly put them in. And we know how it feels to make a decent salary, household income, and still feel like you're just kind of getting by. And until we became financially free, it just felt like there was always something we had to owe. There was always something that we had responsibility for. And I know that, Chris feels the same way, is helping people is just so rewarding. And getting someone from a position of worry and fear and anxiety to a place of peace is like our goal. We want to help people who were in the same position as we were get to where we are. And so when something happens like this, that's just a surprise, something that you don't anticipate, that you're ready for it. And that you could focus on what's important instead of focusing on who do I owe, when is it due? And then that causes marital tension and it causes tension with the family. And it takes away from what really matters.
I love it. And with that, how are you helping folks?
We're launching our own financial coaching business.
I love it.
We are taking principles that we have learned. We are taking coaching insights that we have been taught, and we are paying it forward. We're going to be launching our own YouTube channel, our own coaching service, to do exactly what Corinne said, and that is help individuals, couples that were in or are in the same situation we are or were, and to get them to the same point that we are and even more. Because this isn't the last of it, right? This isn't the final part of the journey. There's so much more to go and there's so much more to grow, but we have to get to a certain spot. And I think this spot, a lot of people desire just to be free of having to owe anything to anyone. Some people are good with owing a little, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, the grass feels different underneath.
No, it smells different.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Underneath your toes.
I've been in houses where there's money owed, and there's a presence, there's the energy, just the
Vibe.
flow of whoever the homeowner is.
And
You're more loose. You guys
Yeah.
are like, this guy gave me a bear hug when I came up to the house. I'm just like,
I told
we're
her, I
in.
said, the moment
I'm
we're gonna see him,
hugging
him.
I'm gonna give him a giant hug.
I'm like, I'm in. This is what it's about. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
To see that, and again, even for myself, I tell people at least once you want to experience being debt free. And the vast majority of Americans watching have never actually been debt free for a period of time
Oh,
in their
man.
adulthood,
Yeah.
and then they want to go invest and multiply money, and then when they get smacked, they get punched, life hits them real
Right.
hard.
Right.
What do they do? They sell everything.
Right.
Panic sell to handle life.
Yeah.
And then you're restarting.
Yeah. People, that's the biggest trap. It's the restarts, right? It's the
The
what
setbacks.
ifs, the setbacks, and they can trip people up 100%. And one thing that we were diligent with, but it wasn't something that was natural, but the one thing that we were diligent with was planning for those what ifs. But you can't do that unless you have a plan, right? You have to have a plan. You have to be disciplined. And once those what ifs happen, those life situations happen, if you got a plan, or at least even sometimes half a plan, that'll be fine. You can handle it, and it won't throw you off the track. It may slow you down a little bit, but it doesn't throw you off the track.
And it's not an emergency. It's just a hiccup. It's just a road bump. It's just a speed bump. You just get through it. It's done, and it doesn't. Our marriage has strengthened in this process since the start of everything. And good marriage to begin with, very blessed. But the teamwork that goes into working on it together, not having one person handle the finances, doing it together as a team is the way it should be. And it's strengthened our marriage, which has made us better parents. And just relationship wise, it's
another added value that math can't put in, right? It's
We're just stacking the benefits at this point. For those of you that are watching, I have an ask that I'd love for you guys to support their new YouTube channel that will be launching, their social media, Divine Stewardship. I'll have links in the chat below in the description so you guys can check them out. I'll have stuff pop up on the screen as well. Please give them a like, please give them a follow their story. I think hearing it from someone that may look like you, right, that may have a similar age range, marriage, kids. You guys have 3 kids.
3 kids, all under the age of 10.
Yeah, they're beautiful, and it's awesome to see that, actually witness it now as the coach that gets to see that progress. And those of you that are ready to say, you know what, I'm gonna get in front of the camera and I'm gonna start telling my story. I'm gonna start sharing, just like they are here. They're super nervous, by the way, but notice how light and they're flowing. I love it. You gotta start. I've been preaching this. Social media is can be a phenomenal place. A lot of people say, 99% of the stuff you see out there is bogus and trash. And it's like, well, why is that? Well, maybe because you're the 1% that's not on here, not on social media, creating good content. So please join me being that 1% that's putting out great material and improving that gap. So instead of it being 99, my hope is in the next 40 years, it's 75% good and 25 of it is bad. Like, just flip the script completely. And I think it's very possible if we can get more people like this wonderful couple here and you all that are watching that have a story to tell. You paid off your home. There are a lot of you watching here that paid off your home. People need to hear that. They're not hearing that enough, so they're hearing all the other stuff. And again, I'm not against that content. I actually have clients that are not intentionally paying off their home because they locked in a 2 something rate back then, early COVID, and they paid everything else off except for the mortgage. They have a second lien maybe. They're funding their policy, they're investing because they're able to maintain that low mortgage payment. Great.
Right.
That's because they have the debt capacity, they have the ability to steward that, and it's not a huge burden on them.
100%.
But there are some watching where 40% of your income is your mortgage. And if we could get rid of that, and then you free up 30, 40% of your living expense that we could plow toward investments, or just be more intentional about taking that vacation with your wife, hanging out with family and friends, just being more available now.
The value.
And maybe a small percentage goes to our investment because you have the time to do so. So being able to have those conversations with qualified professional people, and even just people that have experienced it. There's a couple here that they've gone through certain things that I haven't, that you may relate to more which is why I wanted to bring them on my channel and have them share their story, in a sense, give you a sneak peek, because they might be the reason why you get your mortgage paid off or become fully debt free. And I'm just sitting here, was able to be a part of that process. Like, hey, check them out. I'm that connector passing. Let's make this a wonderful experience for you, for them.
Right.
Is there anything you'd like to share as we get ready to close?
What do you got? You got anything?
No.
No?
Shared it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. Really appreciative of this opportunity here. I think we're gonna have a really, really good partnership moving forward. We're even closer than we are now, because now we're getting into more fun stuff. The hard stuff is done, and now the fun stuff of helping people and getting other people into our position.
Oh yeah.
And then moving forward, and I think it's really, really fun. It's exciting. It really is. It's really exciting.
God bless everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Again, my ask is that you check out their social medias, give them a follow, comment, reach out to them, have them tell their story to you, you tell their story to them. And if there's a partnership that can occur, I'm telling you, coaching is the season that we're in right now. A lot of people are discovering the concept of coaching. We only think of it in sports, but in life, having a coach to walk you through life experiences and the finances as well. When you pair that together, powerful things occur, breakthrough occurs, and ultimately living an intentional life worth living. So with that, again, have a wonderful day. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye.